Hey there guys, so today we have another review, and this is a review of Goose Island, Bourbon County. It's a vertical from 2012 to 2016. Your first question is, how did you get this vertical in mason jars? So this is a huge shout out to, if you're on Long Island, New York, Hicksville Beverage actually just had their 5-year anniversary. He's pretty much giving these out with a purchase. So for 5 years, that's absolutely insane. 5 years of store, 5-year vertical. He literally just gave out these fills. And so they come in 8-ounce mason jars. So again, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I will say I've actually sat down with these. I'm sharing them with a bunch of friends. And again, it takes a lot of time to sort of evaluate it. And to do it fresh on camera, I could literally hang out with you guys for a good hour and a half, and you don't need to see that. I've actually had the 13 to 16 vertical and just literally sat there with 5 ounces, just like going back and forth, trying to think of what I thought. And I just have some conclusions, but it's pretty fresh. You know, we're going to run through it this way. We're going to start with the 16. My theory on that, or some people's theory on that, is that this is the fresh beer, what the brewer intended to be drunk immediately. So we're going back and seeing how it ages. So we're going to the 16 first. It's classic Bourbon County, very bourbony, very chocolatey. There's a nice undertone of dark fruit in there as well. Cheers. So this is a very complete beer. First thing I will say, by the way, with these fills, the carb is not spot on. When you pour Bourbon County, there's actually some amount of carbonation on there, and you're able to get a little bit of a head. These are a little bit more soft, silky. The lack of carbonation is actually not that big of an issue. It really makes the beer very soft on the palate. But as I said, complete beer, you get the whole package. You get the bourbon, you get the rich chocolate, you get the vanilla, you get this kind of like intense woodiness going on as well. There is a slight kind of like chewy, I call it maybe umami character to this beer, but there's dark fruit. The fresh beer stands out as one of the best of the bunch, I will say that. And it really just is a whole complete package. We're digging into this one, the 15. It smells pretty similar. Again, but this one smells even a little bit more dense and maybe even a little bit more chocolatey. So, wow. When I was calling this one being the complete package, it really has all the flavors that you're looking for, whereas some of these vintages can get a little bit more disjointed with age. This one, for me, certainly hits with a nice kind of smack of alcohol in the back end. You definitely feel some fusel qualities. But it's still nice and mellow. Rides on with dark fruit. There's a nice kind of like wonderful vanilla note coming through as well. Dark chocolate, bourbon. It's a very familiar beer. The difference for me, I would say, is this one is less umami-like. It's less, you know, smooth of a beer, and also has a little bit more jagged edge of some alcohol in there. Moving on to the 14. This one smells a little bit more soft, a little bit more sweet. Okay, so now we're getting there. We're getting towards that kind of berry compote kind of territory. I'm getting a lot of like blueberry kind of qualities on this one, just like really rich pop of dark fruit. The beer has less of this kind of chewy intensity and again, like this meatiness to it. This one really drinks more like almost as if it was a fruited barrel-aged imperial stout. Bourbon County, again, leaning towards that slightly leaner side of the beer, not this big fudge bomb. But it still has that nice base of dark chocolate, a little bit of coffee. The oak sits on this beer very nicely. There's a beautiful drinkability to this one, despite the fact it's a little thinner. This one is the burly one. This one's a little bit more lean and sexy. We're on to the 13 now. Follows on with the sweetness. Reminds me of this one. Oh, wow. So again, we're pushing, as we push back, the beer just ends up, for me, perception-wise, getting a little bit more, you know, thinner and less lasting on the palate, but we're still talking about a huge beer that just sits and sits on your palate, lip-smacking sweetness. But this one, even more jamminess. This one sat more like a blueberry kind of quality. This one is huge amounts of, you know, just raspberry, Raspberry compote, think backyard rye on this one. One of the variants that has multiple berries in it. There's a nice kind of woodiness hiding in this one as well. It actually lingers on the back end. You get this little bit of tannic structure. It's very good. Yeah, there's a mild bittersweet chocolate in there driving as well. You know, I probably, and actually dries pretty hard. Yeah, again, there's like a light, you know, licoricey, kind of leathery kind of note on this one. And then onto the 2012, you know, wow. And come to think of it, 2012 might have been the first Bourbon County I had. So it's been a really wonderful venture digging into craft beer. And this was a very special beer for me. You know, that's probably the first Bourbon County I ever had, 2012. Ooh. This one, it jumps out. It burns the nose a little bit. And again, it's actually not as chocolatey and deep as some of these. Cheers. Okay. So this one for us was very different. And from here to here, we're talking about like literally two different beers. This one is the most jarring of the bunch. It stands very much different from the bunch. It actually does burn. The first sip we had of this beer was, you know, such a huge difference. It literally just like hit the nose. It's the most, you know, boozy of the bunch. And for that reason, perception-wise, it actually feels very thin because the alcohol is drying on the palate very quickly. But yeah, there's again, with these older ones, the dark fruit just comes out so much. And again, the comparison is something like a cherry cordial. You know, I'm also getting a little bit of like a blueberry note as well. So it's a burst of this kind of like dark fruit berry kind of candy kind of flavor. You know, get the signature kind of like, you know, vanilla, dark chocolate flavors of Bourbon County, then just smacks with a drying kind of you know, alcohol kind of flavor. It is perception-wise feels very thin compared to this one, and you know, more so compared to, yeah, and also the whole package, but especially this one being the total package. So as for ranking them, I would say it's very hard. From what I've noticed, there's a grouping. These two are the freshest vintages. They sort of just remind you of what Bourbon County tastes like. It has a whole complete package. The chocolate's there, the fudginess, the big round mouthfeel. You get a little bit of meaty quality, some smoke, some leather. It just has everything going out. The dark fruit, everything's in these two, the 16 and 15. With 13 and 14, you're sort of getting this thinning that I noticed between the two. The dark fruits really jump up front very far. And then it really does a great job with the bourbon and vanilla and even some coconut notes in there. The coconut and berry notes are very delicious. So you have that kind of thing. This one, I'd say it's probably past its prime. It's thinning out a little too far past these. The fruit notes are still there, but it really just starts ending up burning of alcohol. Granted, I do believe this vintage was a boozier one, over 15%. So it could be that. But so, you know, you group them in that little bunch. For me, personally, I might like something like 14 and 13 a little bit more than these, especially the 16. To me, it has a little bit of like this meaty note to it. The 15 is, you know, again, a great complete package kind of thing. So it's anywhere from somewhere like, you know, 14, 13, 15, 16, 12, something like that. But it really is grouped more like this. But yeah, and as we're talking, let me make sure the level on these is all pretty similar. You know what's going to happen. So we're going to do a cuvee, and I need I need to drink more beer just to drink more beer. I'll take a little sip out of that one. Take a little sip out of this one. There we go. Yeah, they're pretty much all the same. So we're doing a cuvee. Oh shoot! Sorry about that. Actually, a little bit of water left. Sorry about the long video. I like to keep them short and snappy, but this one is just bound to be long, so sorry about that. All right. The problems I have having to cuvee five vintages of Goose Island Bourbon County. And again, as you see, I've had these out obviously too, and they've been in this, so there's, you know, no really much head on this one. They're pretty much flat still beer. But obviously get that gorgeous kind of brown film that fills up on the edges of the glass. Let's get the aroma on this one. Very nice. It actually surprisingly smells of like an unfamiliar Bourbon County. I don't really know what the kind of Bourbon County this is. There's just a lot going on. There's dark chocolate. There's that tendency of just like Bourbon County smelling like Bourbon County, that rich sweetness that really tells you that it's there. The bourbony note, some oak, the coffee, the dark fruit. There's the toasted oak kind of quality. Cheers. Wow, that's good. That is really nice. So, not only should they do rare, they should do Bourbon County Cuvee. Wow. I'll call it like Bourbon County Master Blend. Wow. The alcohol coming from these is actually really beautifully tamed by the complete and fudgy kind of role that these play in the full malt character and the chocolate. It ends up leaning towards a little bit on this side. I'd probably blend a little bit more of these in. But you see a beautiful progression on this beer. It explodes with so much jamminess. But then it is hidden by this beautiful, familiar Bourbon County rich, decadent chocolate, coconut flavor. These beautiful kind of like dark forest cake, chocolate cake dessert. And the vanilla just lingers on and on. There's a little bit of more alcohol warming as it goes down. It's very enjoyable. 100 plus out of 100. That is absolutely delicious to Cuvee. These are all absolutely very much enjoyable. If you can get your hands on something like this, highly recommend that you obviously share it. Do the vertical, compare and contrast. Take a good amount of time with it, somewhere around, anywhere from half an hour, just sipping at it. Do Cuvee, enjoy. And this was absolutely amazing. Post in the comments below what your favorite vintage is, but this was really fun. I still don't have a favorite vintage of all these. It probably leans somewhere around, one of these three. So the 13, 14, 15. So you can sort of see the progression of age. I definitely can see that with these, kind of, as it goes on, it sort of changes as it goes on. So throw some Bourbon County in your cellar. Until next time, guys, cheers. This was super fun. Later.